Have you ever prayed so hard that you expected God to answer immediately? And when nothing happened, you started wondering if He was even listening? Because maybe that's where you are right now. You prayed, you waited, you trusted, and yet the answer never came. The door never opened. The situation never changed. And slowly, a dangerous thought started growing inside you. What if God is silent because He doesn't care? What if God is silent because He left me? What if God is silent because I did something wrong? And maybe you've never said those words out loud, but deep inside, you've felt them. Because few things test faith more than silence. Not pain, not difficulty, silence. Because pain at least tells you something is happening. But silence? Silence makes people question everything. Their faith, their prayers, their purpose, even God's presence. And maybe that's exactly why you're watching this right now. Because you've been carrying questions that nobody else sees. Questions that appear late at night. Questions that show up after another unanswered prayer. Questions that whisper, "Where is God? Why isn't He responding? Why does heaven feel so quiet?" And if that's you, listen carefully, because one of the biggest mistakes people make during silent seasons is assuming silence means absence. But God's silence has never been proof of God's absence. In fact, some of the most important things God does happen in seasons that feel completely silent. Think about a seed buried in the ground. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. No growth, no progress, no movement, just dirt, just waiting, just silence. But underneath the surface, everything is changing. Roots are forming, strength is developing, life is preparing to emerge. And maybe that's exactly what God is doing in your life right now. Not ignoring you, preparing you. Because preparation often feels invisible, especially when it happens deep beneath the surface. And that's frustrating, because we want signs, we want answers, we want movement, we want proof. But faith was never built on proof. Faith was built on trust. Trusting God when you understand, and trusting Him when you don't. Trusting Him when doors open, and trusting Him when doors stay closed. Trusting Him when the answer is obvious, and trusting Him when heaven feels completely silent. Because silence does not mean God stopped working. Sometimes silence means God is working somewhere you cannot see. And honestly, some of the greatest blessings in life require hidden preparation. Because if God gave you everything immediately, you might not be ready to carry it. You pray for purpose, but purpose requires maturity. You pray for blessing, but blessing requires wisdom. You pray for open doors, but open doors require preparation. And sometimes, the season you call delay, God calls development. The season you call silence, God calls preparation. The season you call frustration, God calls growth. And one day, you'll look back and realize the silence was never empty. It was full of work you simply couldn't see yet, because God was changing things inside you before changing things around you. He was strengthening your faith, deepening your character, teaching you patience, teaching you trust, teaching you how to walk with Him, even when you couldn't see the outcome. And maybe that's what makes silent seasons so powerful, because they reveal what our faith is actually built upon. Do we trust God only when He answers quickly? Or do we trust Him even when we don't understand what He's doing? Because real faith isn't proven when everything makes sense. Real faith is proven when nothing makes sense, and you keep walking anyway. And maybe lately, God has been inviting you into a deeper level of trust. Not surface level trust, not conditional trust, but the kind of trust that survives uncertainty, the kind of trust that survives unanswered questions, the kind of trust that survives silence. Because some of the strongest believers in Scripture experienced seasons where God seemed quiet. Yet those seasons became the very moments that prepared them for what came next. And maybe that's true for you too. Maybe this season isn't punishment. Maybe it isn't abandonment. Maybe it isn't rejection. Maybe it's preparation. Maybe God is building something inside you that cannot be built any other way. And maybe the reason this season feels so uncomfortable is because growth is happening where you cannot see it. Growth in your spirit, growth in your faith, growth in your dependence on God. And one day, the things that confuse you now will make sense. The waiting will make sense. The closed doors will make sense. The silence will make sense. Because you'll finally see what God was protecting you from, what He was preparing you for, and who He was shaping you into. Until then, don't mistake silence for distance. Don't mistake waiting for rejection. Don't mistake delay for denial. Because God is closer than you realize. Closer in the silence. Closer in the waiting. Closer in the uncertainty. Closer in the questions. And even when you cannot hear Him, He is still working. Even when you cannot see Him, He is still present. Even when heaven feels quiet, God is still moving, because the truth is, God has never abandoned you. Not for a single moment. Not in your confusion. Not in your disappointment. Not in your waiting. Not in your pain. And maybe today, He wanted you to hear this. His silence does not mean He stopped loving you. His silence does not mean He forgot you. His silence does not mean He left you. It simply means the story isn't finished yet. So don't quit in the middle of a chapter God is still writing. Don't walk away from a season that may be preparing the very thing you've been praying for. And don't allow temporary silence to convince you of a permanent lie. Because God isn't far. He's closer than you think. And one day, you'll realize He was with you through every silent moment, every unanswered prayer, every difficult night, every season of waiting. He never left. He was there all along. So let this be your prayer tonight. God, when heaven feels silent, help me remember that You are still near. When I don't understand what You're doing, help me trust Your timing. And when I feel forgotten, remind me that Your silence is not Your absence, because I know You are working even now. If you feel this message, comment, God isn't far, and subscribe for daily reflections.